Hi guys, Yon77 here. Today I'm back with another YouTube video. I did my Premier League predictions quite recently. So, what else am I supposed to do? My Championship predictions, obviously, next. Maybe if we can get 5 likes on this, I'll do my League One predictions. I might have to make my own predictor for that though. Anyway, first place I've got Leicester. Lots of their players are going to leave, like they're insane ones like James Maddison. I reckon that Daka, I think, is going to leave. I reckon Vardy might stay with them. He's just become such a club legend. I reckon he'll stay with them and he'll be that different, I reckon, to get them promoted. Leeds second, they've got a pretty good squad. I know a few players are on loan, but I think they've still got a good enough squad. Now let's go to... So, third place, I put Middlesbrough. I think they've got quite a good squad, so I reckon they can get themselves promoted. Next, I put Southampton. They've got a good squad. Ward-Prowse is obviously going to leave. I reckon their squad's good enough. I reckon they'll do good in the playoffs. I reckon they'll make it to the final. But I have a team that I think will beat them. And it won't be Middlesbrough, by the way. I think they're going to bottle it in the playoffs. Next up, Coventry. Made it to the playoff final last season. Unfortunately, it was just one penalty. They were so close to being in the Premier League. I reckon they'll have a similar season. I reckon they might lose some of their important players, but they'll still get into the playoffs fifth. Now, sixth place is Swansea. Now, as we're recording this, Russell Martin is still there, but he is heavily rumoured to go to Southampton. And Joel Peru, Swansea's best player, is also rumoured to leave the club. So the question is, will they make it to top 6? If they can keep them two, then I reckon they will. 7th, West Brom, they're on the rise. They've been in between the Premier League. Watford, they had a bad season, but I reckon they're going to get it back in 8th. Still quite bad though. Blackburn Rovers finished 7th last season, so close. I reckon I'm just going to get a bit lower down. And now Millwall, they've been... I reckon they're going to get around that spot again, similar season. Bristol City, now I think they're on the rise. And who's that youngster called? They've got a really good youngster. I forgot his name. Sunderland. They snuck into the playoffs. I think it will kind of be a one-season wonder. But not as bad as Huddersfield were, last season. They were in the playoffs and all that stuff. And then I'm going to go to Norwich City. Now, Norwich, they did terrible this season. I think they're going to have another bad season. Next up, I'm going to put Preston North End. Preston, they're a pretty decent team. You can't really say much else. I think they're going to get mid-table, like Norwich. I think they did better this season, but, I think they're going to get similar. Stoke City, they're kind of a mid-table club. Hull City, I reckon they're on the rise. I reckon they might get mid-table-ish. And QPR, I reckon that if they can keep over like Chris Willock, that sort of people, then they can get higher, and it was just a one mistake season and they can get into mid-table. And then Ipswich Town, I actually think they've got quite a good squad, so I reckon they're going to survive quite comfortably. Same with Plymouth, actually. They did really well in League One, but I reckon Ipswich will just finish above them. Huddersfield next, they've had a fall off. It's crazy to think 2 seasons ago they were in the playoffs. And now they're so close to relegation, but I reckon they do just survive. Now Rotherham, I reckon they're just going to be on the edge, just surviving barely. Next up, we've got Birmingham City. Birmingham City, they're a good club, but I reckon they're going to lose quite a few of their players and they're going to get relegated. Only just, though. I reckon it's going to be very tight between them and Rotherham. Next, I've put Cardiff City. Now Cardiff, if Reading hadn't got that deduction, they would be down now. And I reckon they're going to go down. And hey, it's good for me as a Swansea fan. It'll mean that for Wales games, they'll use the Swansea City Stadium, probably. And finally, Sheffield Wednesday just came up, going straight back down. And I think winning the playoffs is going to be, drumroll please, Swansea City. I reckon they can keep the players. If they keep Russell Martin, they're going to get into the playoffs. Come on, Swansea. Subscribe.